Let the games begin. Choose this day whose side you will be on, or what camp will you be? A soldier in the army thereof. For broad is the way that leads to destruction, and narrow is the way that leads to life, and few there be that find it. Hello, hey, hi, everybody, social media family, any subscribers as well as any visitors to that being on my own social media channel and or chat room conversation. How you all doing? Hopefully all's well that ends well. Disregard or ignore whatever interruption you can hear in the background as the devil is that much more busy with his demons in these last and evil days. As you all know, well, some more, some less, you know. And I know what it's like from that of my own personal experience, what that is like, especially with what that of my person had become subjected to experiencing most recently with this one particular proverbial neighbor from damn hell, of a public nuisance problem neighbor, being of whom you could have heard in the background just a minute or so ago. That was him bumping and stomping, doing his usual regular daily and or nightly routine of expressing his animosity or hostilities or hatred and possibly likewise jealousy for my person, you know. And whereas he himself has been going at it for the longest to attempt to not only drive me, being the person of I myself, or of an individual completely bonkers, but then likewise, as well, all the same, out of house and home. And though, or regardless of how himself has seemingly, is that what I say? No, more, more than likely, or has managed to successfully, or possibly with all possibility or probability, has managed to successfully drive me out of house and home, being of the latter, with that of how my person had most recently had become subject to experiencing the management of the building that is one of the real estate representative personnel having given me that of walking papers of paper documents of an eviction notice being on which he himself should have gotten much rather instead of me. But then nevertheless, he has not managed to, do that of the former, which is to attempt to drive me completely bonkers. I ain't gonna worry about it. I put all matters in God's hand as, I take this great leap of faith, or as I'm trying to walk by faith, not by sight. And like I said before, so I say again, disregard, ignore what you heard in the background. Not any electronic transmission frequency broadcast coming from a device of a radio or television, but rather coming from him. Stupid does and stupid feels. We have a whole lot more stupid and or sick, not to mention demon possessed persons in the world. So I'm really composing this here particular present social media broadcast just for him. You know, I know it may not seem, you know, like the Christian thing to do the way I'm thinking about going about. Well, hopefully with that much less of a chance of expressing myself with the usages of expletives of profanity or cuss words, to say, than to go about it otherwise, but still, even so, maybe not as much as going about it in other some sort of other regard, but nevertheless, it is pretty much so sarcastic in that the negative sense of the word, or being of which would complement that a thought of the lesser two you have been of it. Prodigal son expressing oneself, you know. And so, with that having been said, and without any further ado, then let me begin the sarcastic dialogue against this one male person of character, of a person of interest. Yeah, that was him again. And as he could possibly be the rank and file of the criminal element for that matter. But hold that thought while I address the issue of somebody coming into my chat room or comment section for my social media broadcast video here, and more than seem like one is attempting to spread spam as one comes off like some kind, some sort or type of an internet troll. Please do not come upon my social media channel, neither or nor come into my social media chat room or comment section or whatever, or however said, with any spam, if you please, you troll, internet troll, or anybody else, anybody else, any of the likes of your kind, sort, or type. Otherwise, I will not only silence your chat in some or such due time, but then last but not least, I will block you. And the majority or most, the majority or and the majority or most being of whom I myself, being of that my person, block are blocked permanently. So respect my channel, and or likewise chat room or comments section, social media, or else you can take a hike. Sorry about that, you all. As the devil was busy, as you see once again, these internet trolls, they come on my channel and then likewise coming to my that is coming to my chat room or comment section, and they want to prove themselves to have become or be quite obnoxious, as usual, you know with all that spam nonsense or so much negativity of theirs, Sorry about that again. I say I apologize to one and many or to you all. In due regard in reference to matters as that being. As much as I apologize to you all for the interruptions coming from one of the likes of the proverbial neighbors from damn hell, being among themselves a public nuisances of problem neighbors. Then getting back to him and all. Oh, I did ask you all the question of how you all doing, didn't I? I think I did. And if I didn't, so I do ask now that particular question. I mean, and if I did, well, there's no harm in repeating. Well, I hope that you all are doing at least okay. Not better yet to be said to be feeling all right, or not best of all to be feeling less stressed, more blessed and stressed, too blessed to possibly become or be stressed. When yours, family, friend, hopefully, in mind. Likewise, as well, all the same. Well, me myself, for that matter, to be included, regardless of my present circumstances, being as it is, of extenuating circumstances up under conditions such as is the case situation where it's now and I have to move after the management of the building took his word over mine. And be he himself working with any accomplices in crime or not, especially if he is or was. I mean, after all, I have gotten that an eviction notice, and though the management building was like saying more or less, well, how do you know? Ask me question. How do you know as to whether or not he didn't get one as well? No, that cannot possibly be the case. You can't possibly give. I mean, both parties, I guess they were like playing on my that rifle, trying to you know pull a whammy on me, put a wool over my eyes after I had given one that being rent money, in the form of a money order to to attempt to you know make me forget that or something. But then, well, try to get back, like saying more or less. Well, I already processed it within the first quarter of an hour to half an hour. How can you process? I just gave it to you. I mean, like, right? You just don't want to give it back. You just want to consider that some free money. Where we're supposed to go to court over that probate real estate court. But then I have yet to get in touch with any attorneys or lawyers so we could litigate that, and they would have to give me that rent money back. Okay, but you just can't take rent money like that. And I mean, if you like supposed to be like putting somebody out, then there's a process. I mean, if we were to just do as we please, then it'd be like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. If we don't go through all the proper policies and the procedures or protocols. So that would look to have become or be quite fraudulent on their part. But then, whereas it was bad enough to think that they had, misbehaved or acted unprofessionally or improperly by, I would call it, taking the coward's way out, cutting corners by giving me the walking papers of an eviction notice, a paperwork document that this one proverbial neighbor from damn hell, dickhead prick should have got much rather instead. Oh, excuse my language. Anyway, let me get into the dialogue at hand, as I'm addressing this mainly in regard to him. Oh, excuse me, science. And so don't take it offense. I'm not directing this to any of you all being on my social media family of any subscribers, any visitors to that being on my immediate personal social media channel and or likewise chat room or comment section. But I'm directing this toward his person. And so with that having been said, let me begin. Yeah, neighbor. whichever is the case or situation, be it your father, your stepdad, one must have really done some bad things to you that you have got to unreasonably take it out on somebody else, and make some other person that has never done anything to you to suffer for what you had suffered as a little boy coming up. Whereas your father, your stepdad could have dressed you up, you know, in dresses and skirts, bras and panties and wigs and eyeshadow and lipsticks and fingernail polish and stockings or nylons and pumps of high heel shoes and everything behind closed and locked doors, and then you know rolled you into the wee hours of the night on a regular basis, and possibly worse yet, not just as an adolescent or teenage underage male or minor of a boy, but possibly worse yet as a preteen boy. You know, I feel sorry that your father, your stepdad may have done that to you, but why take it out on me? You don't know me like that. I never done anything to you. It's all in your head, like yeah, your father, your stepdad, whichever the case or situation, could have possibly had you go down on him, for years before and after you went up into you that much more, at waist level between your legs, could have possibly had you straddle his lap while he spanked you, while his hand rub up and down between your legs at waist level, and spanking and dug his finger in your Oscar Mayer wiener hot dog buns, or rather your burger buns, because he stuffed it like like somebody would stuff a taco with some hamburger meat. Yeah, greased his monkey in you and everything, and then say to you, "I love you so much, son. I'm sorry." Son or stepson, whichever the case be, it was your father, your stepdad, whichever the case, whichever you had. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what come over me. I just gotta. I dig it. I know it's kind of weird, but I can't help myself. Maybe sometime in the future you'll forgive me, but at the moment I just gotta go for what 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 relieves the beast or the animal or the monster. Get me to thinking about rumor has it that Alice's boyfriend, the maid of the Brady Bunch family household, was supposed to have been some kind of closet freak of the gay persuasion, who would from time to time have the Brady boys work in his meat shop so he could pack something in their buns otherwise, like say, or how you say, "Hey, I'm Mr. Brady." "Yes, Mr. Drucker?" "Oh, call me Sam." "Okay. Then I suppose I am to extend the offer for you to call me by my first name of Mike. Well, maybe we should keep it professional after all." "Oh, you have a problem with that, Mr. Drucker?" I mean, well, I did come over here to ask you, or like, sort of like a favor. I mean, more of a business transaction. That I will hope that you could help me negotiate favorably for both of the two parties. Oh, hmm, what you're that you could possibly be implying in due regard reference to my line of work, or you have some kind of secret inhibitions? Yeah, I guess could say that, but not necessarily for your profession or vocation. I'm sorry. I just thought, nah, it's okay, Mr. Brady. But rather, I was wondering if you could mention to your boys or your sons how I would like them to work in my meat shop, and of course I will pay them, and throw in some extra fringe benefits. Feed them while they're there, and so forth. And it would look good on a job resume for any of them, for the future. Hmm. You know, I think you're quite right. Yes, you have a point there. I'll mention it to them as soon as I can, Mr. Drucker. Oh, call me Sam. I thought you said you didn't. Oh, that's okay, Mr. Brady, or rather, Mike. I think we have come to terms where we are much more on a friendly rather than a hostile basis, And because I admire you, I look up to you. You being a even greater big businessman, and I'm sure you would think to look out for me, as you said, you would mention it to your boys, and they could possibly likewise look out for me as I could look out for them. Like one hand washes the other. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. Anyway, if you could mention it to them soon enough, Mister Mister Brady or Mike. Sure, Sam. Hey, boys. Yes, Dad. Mr. Drucker would like you to work in his meat shop. What do you say? Do you think you could squeeze it into your plans or program or for whatever is, of your agendas for all three of you, or somehow whereas it could become a part of your menu or repertoire? Yes, I think we could do something with that, Dad. Yeah. So how soon you want us to work in your meat shop, Mr. Drucker? Soon enough, boys. I mean, I would appreciate it. You know. Okay. Well, if you say so. So it's a deal, boys? Huh? My three sons? Oh yeah, sure, Dad. We can work something out with Mr. Drucker. Yeah, come on back here, boys. I want you to just sit a spell for now. Uh, I'm not in a rush. The business is doing fairly well, but it could do better. But here, have some cold cuts. Fix it just for you guys. Oh, thanks, Mr. Drucker. They're rather tasty. While you're checking out those cold cuts, I'm going to get a batch of some or such other. Well, maybe you like this as well. Oh, what's that, Mr. Drucker? Check these out, boys. Hmm, these are some funny looking magazines, Mr. Drucker. Are you sure we should be looking at that? Oh, you ain't a woman, aren't you? Sure, Mr. Drucker, but um, I don't think we should be looking at this here. These here mags or magazines, these girly mags. Yeah, ain't they keen or great? Yeah, I see there are grown adult females or women of different races and whatever walks of life. I just say like the reverend. Yeah, and they're wearing quite a bit of skimpy outfits. Why they practically have nothing on, or they have little, if anything, on. Yeah, and check out these bikini clad woman models. Then you have some in thongs, and then you have some. Why it looked like they are like practically or possibly wearing just bra and panties. I mean, the swimwear on some of these here bras or dames, or as you would call them in your day, Mr. Drucker. Yeah, but then check out these other ones. Oh, Mr. Drucker. These here other girly mags, the women don't have any kind of clothing on. Yeah, isn't it grand? Then check out these here. I don't know exactly what they're for. I mean, I have yet to really check them out. I just glimpse at them. I have yet to get some glasses just in case. I mean, I just I was just looking through a bunch of them. I got them from somewhere. But Mr. Drucker, these magazines are, oh wow, they're men making out with other men. Then it looks like some of them are. It is like it looks like men making out with boys. Oh, how did they get in there? Oh, here, let me get these out your way, boys. Yeah, it looks like you got a raw deal, Mr. Drucker. You should give these back to whoever sold some of such to you. They must have mistaken it for the other magazines. Yeah, maybe. Oh, go ahead and look at those girly men. I'm just gonna stand behind you boys. You Brady boys, while you eat your cold cuts and look at the different pages of these girly mags. Mr. Drucker. Yeah, Greg, you're kind of standing a little bit too close behind me. Oh, was I, Greg? Sorry about that. Mr. Drucker. What is it now, Greg? You kind of have your hand on my belt buckle. Oh, well, I was trying to grab for something else. Mr. Drucker, what is it now, Greg? I mean, what's the hassle? You're kind of holding me by my waist and you're kind of bobbing back and forth. Oh, was I? I'm sorry, Greg. Oh, who am I fooling? Look here, boys. You're going to give me some sugar, some putty pie. You hear? And if you don't cooperate, the word's gonna get back to your different schools that you guys, you're into other males of your peers, and none of the girls at your school representing the opposite sex will want to get together with you. Get my drift? And so I'm gonna try you out for size first, Greg. Then you'll be next, Peter, and then I'll say the best for last. That's you, Bobby. So that's what I get to thinking how, my present proverbial neighbor from hell of a public nuisance of a problem neighbor, he could have been, abused by his own father's stepdad in times past, who could have possibly turned him out. Now, he figured that he figured that he needs to relieve himself of the stress by attacking another male that he feels that he could lord it over, bully, And unfortunately, I am that male that he has been attempting to drive completely bonkers as well, drive out of house and home for the long. Well, although he managed to do the latter, he hasn't managed to do the former. Yeah, the devil is busy in this day and age. So now I'm going to have to put forth, so much effort as well as to compliment man's intentions to try to find me another spot to chill at, as in, another place of residence of an available apartment vacancy, whereas I could possibly from there resume paying annual monthly rent, utilities, and home phone service fees, etc. Well, here I'm paying, whereas my utilities are supposed to be included in my rent. I had to pay all that other, and all being because the management of the building, the representative of real estate personnel had took his side over mine. Whereas, regardless of how many times I had complained to them about him, as well as to the police a number of times, well, more than quite a few times, likewise, here it is. They took his side over mine, like so. Whereas, he could have possibly had called them just when I could possibly be like, hey, could you cut the crap out, or if I could possibly get to saying something like, yelling in my apartment and say, you know, man, if I was to ever catch you trespassing my principal properties, worse yet than what you already called me problem, man, there would be damn hell to pay. Or as I could be like saying, man, what you need to do is quit coming off like some kind of, gay pedophile Catholic priest wannabe, as I suspect you could be, even worse, a male character. You could be out here attempting to mess with boys, in a freaky kind of way. And like Wes there, after he would have called the management of the building after he could manage to push my emotional buttons with all the extreme and excessive noises of different sorts of types that he makes on a daily and nightly basis, the bumping, the stomping, the dropping things on the floor, the dragging things across floors of his apartment for whichever room he in, and etc. And to complement that being in addition all the goose stepping he does. So once he were to push my emotional button, he called it management. And for any of those representative real estate personnel and tell them to go to my apartment. Yeah, he's ranting and raving like a lunatic, a maniac, or a mad dog from at the mouth with rabies. You should go in and check it out. Then with they eavesdropping at my door, but they take their own sweet time when I call them to tell them to go check him out at his apartment. Whereas they're only here during the daylight hours. They're not here during the nighttime hours, especially when it comes to late evening night hours when he really be going at it and so forth. And so from there, he has managed to have me be given the walking papers, paperwork documents of eviction notice that he should have gotten. Then to add insult to injury, here is one of the management personnel or real estate representatives like saying to me in more words less. Well, just as you say that you have complaints stating your grievances against him, you know, have called the police on him a number of times. Well, you called us, but we have complaints against you. And I'm saying, what? I'm like, I'm not the troublemaker. I'm not the one that's making all those different noises, extreme excessive noises. Now, either his fellow neighbors on the same floor that he is on up there, either they are completely deaf or they are accomplices in crime of his. That's the only way to explain that, because I'm not the troublemaker here. So, anyway, though, as a result of developments, to make a long story short, and it's about to close out. So now, here it is. I'm going to have to find me another place for myself, to call my own, you know. And Wes, I have been given a lot of amount of time designated, like say, for a time frame period of from a few months, a quarter year to possibly 1/3 of a year to find me another spot to chill at, to call my own, you know. And whereas I have yet to get in touch with lawyers as well, I have yet to get my paperwork otherwise, and then go about house hunting or apartment searching before the deadline, before I would possibly become homeless again, and whereas I never been homeless by choice, think that I done gone all out my way, gone through all that trouble to get this place. Now I have to move out. In addition to the trouble that I had to go through cleaning up my place here, in preparation for a housing inspection, housing reinspection, only to lose it now, then because of misunderstanding that has developed between me and the management of the real estate personnel representative. So on that last note, I'm just going to conclude by saying, if I paraphrase not quite exact. If you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I would hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins, by recognizing and realizing what he himself had done or did upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of some such Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors, being religious ones as well as militaristic or political ones, from centurions of Caesars to Pharisees and Sadducees, but then nevertheless, he went to that cross of Calvary to become the perfect sacrifice, the only sacrifice for you as well as for me, so that if any of us, being of whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, fashion of society, or lifestyle preferences, being of the old, young, alike of both two sexes, the males and females, represent not only the the um, the human species, but then nevertheless the global community within this post 911 era of our new millennium, apocalyptic day and age, and where the doomsday clock is now at a couple few minutes to midnight compared on our former period prior to then, it was a quarter midnight for these rather biblically prophetic times. Whereas from there, if any of us were to profess some of such faith in them, from there we become and be blessed in one regard or another, in more ways one. First and foremost, with his salvation, being of which is the only means by which any of us can or could possibly enter into the kingdom of heaven to be considered as citizens thereof, once we were to make that transition for the great beyond, the hereafter, the afterlife. The second of all, with his deliverance while we're still here. But first, we have got to get his salvation. Otherwise, that's you. First of all, you have got to get a salvation before your clock stops ticking. Otherwise, your final destination would be come or be the lake of fire, damn hell, to be assembled with the rest of the unsaved, lost, damn human souls, or unbelievers and non-believers, to be tortured and terrorized by the devil and the demons forever, compared to how we as believers in God, as in Christians, aka Protestant, would be across that great divide that separates heaven from hell in the company of like-minded believers, you know, and in the presence of God and his angels otherwise. Because God is not to be mocked. What you sow is what you shall reap. I have another internet troll in here. Get off of my channel and or out of my chat room of social media with all of that spam, you internet troll. Get a life. Trash somebody else's channel. Anyway, though, that's pretty much all I have to say, you all. I'm gonna leave it at that. Hopefully, I will see you all soon. Otherwise, I'll be looking for other places of residence. So we can say when I get back on here. Y'all take care. We out. Peace.